The infamous Tenerife airport disaster. The Tenerife airport disaster is the deadliest aviation accident in history, occurring on March 27, 1977, at Los Rodeos Airport, now Tenerife North Airport in the Canary Islands. The disaster involved two Boeing 747 jumbo jets, operated by KLM and Pan American World Airways, Pan Am, and resulted in the tragic loss of 583 lives. The catastrophe unfolded on a foggy afternoon when a terrorist bomb explosion at Gran Canaria Airport forced numerous flights to be diverted to the smaller Los Rodeos Airport. The congestion and poor weather conditions created a chaotic environment on the ground. Both the KLM and Pan Am aircraft were instructed to taxi on the same runway, a practice known as backtaxiing, due to the lack of space. The intrigue lies in the tragic chain of miscommunications and errors that led to the disaster. As the KLM flight prepared for takeoff, dense fog reduced visibility to almost zero. The Pan Am flight, still taxiing on the runway, was hidden from the view of the KLM pilots. Miscommunication between the KLM crew, air traffic control, and the Pan Am flight resulted in the KLM captain beginning his takeoff roll without proper clearance. Just as the KLM aircraft accelerated, the Pan Am crew spotted the landing lights of the oncoming plane and attempted to turn off the runway. It was too late. The KLM jet collided with the Pan Am aircraft at high speed, causing a massive explosion and fire. Miraculously, some passengers and crew from the Pan Am flight survived by evacuating through the aircraft's ruptured fuselage, but there were no survivors from the KLM flight. The infamous Lockerbie bombing. The Lockerbie bombing, officially known as Pan Am Flight 103, is one of the most notorious and devastating terrorist attacks in aviation history. On December 21, 1988, the Boeing 747 was en route from London to New York City when it exploded over the small Scottish town of Lockerbie, killing all 259 passengers and crew on board, as well as 11 residents on the ground. The disaster's intrigue lies in its sheer scale and the international ramifications that followed. The explosion occurred due to a bomb hidden in a suitcase in the cargo hold, which detonated at cruising altitude, causing the aircraft to disintegrate mid-air. Debris rained down over a wide area, and the fuselage sections landed on Lockerbie, causing additional destruction and loss of life. The investigation, led by the UK's Air Accidents Investigation Branch, AAIB, and the FBI, uncovered fragments of a suitcase and a Toshiba cassette player that had housed the bomb. Through meticulous detective work, the investigation traced the bomb components back to Libya, leading to the indictment of Libyan intelligence officers Abdel Basset al-Megrahi and Lamin Khalifa Fhimma. The Lockerbie bombing had profound international implications, leading to a lengthy diplomatic and legal battle. In 2001, al-Megrahi was convicted of 270 counts of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment, while Fhimma was acquitted. The attack strained Libya's relations with the West, resulting in economic sanctions and a significant shift in global aviation security protocols. Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 disappearance. The disappearance of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 is one of the most baffling and intriguing aviation mysteries in history. On March 8, 2014, the Boeing 777-200ER, carrying 239 passengers and crew, vanished en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. The plane's sudden and unexplained disappearance sparked an international search effort and endless speculation. The intrigue of MH370's disappearance lies in the mysterious sequence of events. Approximately 40 minutes after takeoff, the aircraft's transponder was turned off, and it deviated sharply from its planned route, heading west across the Malay Peninsula. The final communication from the cockpit was a routine "Good night, Malaysian 370," after which the plane disappeared from civilian radar. Military radar tracked it for another hour, indicating it flew over the Andaman Sea before disappearing completely. The search for MH370 became the most extensive in aviation history, involving multiple countries and covering vast swathes of the Indian Ocean. Despite years of efforts and numerous theories, the main wreckage was never found. Only a few pieces of debris, confirmed to be from MH370, washed up on distant shores like Reunion Island and parts of Africa, offering limited clues about the plane's fate. The lack of definitive answers has led to numerous theories ranging from hijacking and pilot suicide to mechanical failure. The disappearance has exposed vulnerabilities in aviation safety, particularly the need for real-time aircraft tracking and better communication systems. The mystery of Malaysia Airlines flight MH370 remains unsolved, capturing the world's imagination and fueling endless debate and speculation. The infamous Air France Flight 447 crash. The crash of Air France Flight 447 is one of the most haunting aviation disasters of the 21st century. On June 1, 2009, the Airbus A330-200, en route from Rio de Janeiro to Paris, vanished over the Atlantic Ocean, killing all 228 passengers and crew on board. The incident captivated global attention due to the mysterious circumstances and the prolonged search for the wreckage. Flight 447 departed Rio de Janeiro, and 3 3 hours into the flight, encountered severe weather with turbulence. The intrigue began when the aircraft's automated system sent a series of maintenance messages indicating failures in the airspeed sensors. Shortly after, the plane disappeared from radar. The search, involving multiple countries, initially found no trace of the aircraft, deepening the mystery. It took nearly 2 years to locate the main wreckage and the flight recorders on the ocean floor, at depths of over 12,000 feet. The recovered data revealed a chilling sequence of events. The airspeed sensors had iced over, providing incorrect readings and causing the autopilot to disconnect. The pilots, facing conflicting data and rapidly deteriorating conditions, made incorrect control inputs, leading to an aerodynamic stall from which they could not recover. Japan Airlines Flight 123 crash, also known as the Mount Osutaka disaster, remains one of the deadliest single aircraft accidents in history. On August 12, 1985, the Boeing 747 SR aircraft, operating as Japan Airlines Flight 123, departed from Tokyo's Haneda Airport bound for Osaka International Airport. However, just 12 minutes into the flight, disaster struck. The intrigue of this tragedy lies in the series of events that led to the catastrophic crash. A structural failure occurred in the aircraft's rear pressure bulkhead, resulting from improper repairs following a tail strike incident 7 years earlier. The sudden decompression caused extensive damage, including the loss of hydraulic control systems, rendering the aircraft virtually uncontrollable. Despite the heroic efforts of the flight crew, including Captain Masami Takahama, who battled to keep the aircraft airborne for over half an hour, the plane eventually crashed into the rugged terrain of Mount Osutaka, approximately 100 kilometers northwest of Tokyo. An estimated 20 to 50 passengers initially survived the impact, but tragically succumbed to their injuries before rescuers could reach them. Miraculously, 4 people did survive the crash, including Yumi Ochiai, an off-duty flight attendant, a mother and her young daughter, and a 12-year-old girl found alive in a tree. The infamous Iran Air Flight 655 shootdown remains one of the most controversial and tragic incidents in aviation history. On July 3, 1988, Iran Air Flight 655, a commercial Airbus A300B2, was flying from Bandar Abbas, Iran, to Dubai, United Arab Emirates. However, the flight never reached its destination. The intrigue of this disaster lies in the circumstances surrounding its destruction. As the aircraft flew over the Persian Gulf, it was mistakenly identified as an attacking F-14 Tomcat fighter jet by the USS Vincennes, a United States Navy guided missile cruiser. Believing the aircraft to be hostile, the Vincennes launched 2 surface-to-air missiles, striking and destroying Iran Air Flight 655. The consequences of the shootdown were catastrophic. All 290 passengers and crew on board, including 66 children, lost their lives in the incident. The shootdown sparked international outrage and strained diplomatic relations between the United States and Iran, exacerbating existing tensions between the two countries. The investigation into the incident revealed a series of errors and miscommunications, including the misidentification of the civilian aircraft and the failure to follow proper engagement procedures. The United States ultimately expressed regret for the loss of innocent lives, but stopped short of issuing a formal apology. Similar videos coming very soon, so subscribe.